Now, the next Archbishop of Canterbury was officially unveiled today, saying he was utterly optimistic about the future of the Church of England. The current Bishop of Durham, Justin Welby, is an old Etonian and former oil executive who shunned business to join the Church. He may have to employ all his diplomatic skills in the coming months with pressing issues such as the Church's stance on women bishops, something he supported, and gay marriage, which he has not, all up for debate. Well, a few minutes after the new Archbishop was unveiled, I got to talk to him, and I started by asking whether he supports an overarching inquiry into the recent allegations of child abuse.
It's not really for me to say whether there should be an inquiry. What is clear for me is that any allegations of abuse against children and vulnerable adults must always be taken seriously, immediately, and dealt with.
Because you sit on another inquiry, the banking inquiry. You
Yes.
want to stay on that, don't you?
Yes, I'm intending to stay on that until it's complete.
Eton, Cambridge, the oil industry, and now the Church of England. You don't sound like a very troublesome priest.
Well, time will tell on that. No, you know, that's troublesome priest. I haven't been accused of that, but I suppose I try and be troublesome in ways that, I've been troublesome in ways that haven't made too many waves, visibly. But I think I've been reasonably troublesome in the background. Certainly on the Banking Standards Commission, I think we're seeing some very radical thoughts coming forward, and I expect that to be a fairly radical report. Having
left business, do you think there is a way for big business, for banking especially, to be ethical, to be for the common good?
Oh, emphatically, yes. It is perfectly possible, and one sees it done by many, many business organisations.
Are there any ethical banks now?
Oh, yes.
Which ones?
I'm not going to get into lists, but yes, there are definitely ethical banks. There's no such thing as a perfect organisation. If you want one, I suppose I'd say the Co-op would be straight off. And what is clear is that many of the banks are striving to change their culture.
What do you think about these big businesses who are paying so little tax? And the rich generally, in terms of the way, how much tax they pay?
I think the tax system needs to be structured so that people pay a proper contribution to society in an appropriate way.
So Vodafone, Starbucks, Amazon, all these companies who are negotiating relatively low tax rates.
Well,
right?
it's for the tax system to make sure that they're unable to do that. No, I don't think it's right. But they will naturally take advantages of loopholes and legitimate ways of planning their tax. People always have. The tax system needs to be simple and straightforward and make sure that every member of society, including corporate members, pay a proper rate of tax. It's very important.
People always thought of Rowan Williams as a bit of a lefty. Will we think of you as a bit of a lefty?
Oh, well, you'll have to wait and see about that. I've no idea. I don't do pigeonholes terribly well, so I sort of pick views from here and there and everywhere. So I really don't know the answer to that question. Because
socially you seem a little conservative on things like gay marriage and issues like that. I mean, is that a fair way to characterise you?
Probably. It's a very good question. I'm cautious. I hate language about inclusion and exclusion, and particularly exclusion. So I'm very aware of the Church's history in dealing badly with many of these issues, and therefore the need for us to be very thoughtful and prayerful and careful about how we listen to people. I'm also, because of my international experience, profoundly aware of the impact of what we do on overseas churches.
As the leader of the Anglican Church, can I just ask you about a couple of key Anglican issues? Do you believe, literally, in the virgin birth?
I can say the creed without crossing my fingers at any point.
Is that a yes?
That's a yes.
And do you believe Jesus was physically resurrected?
Yes.